So tonight we have Jemimah Ogboru do her artist talk, and I'll say a little bit about her. Being stuck indoors due to quarantine had taken a toll on me. Every day waking up, looking at the same four walls of my room almost drove me insane, quite frankly. I decided to be in the outside world more, knowing I wasn't allowed. To soothe my grave desire, I purchased a microscope to observe the world around me, my room in a different light. Jemimah is a level 5 fine art student at the University of Hertfordshire, and she enjoys working with oil paints and lino cutting. However, she enjoys incorporating to explore other media in her practice. Over to you.
Okay, so as you've probably heard from the introduction, my name is Jemimah. I'm a level 5 fine art student at the university. And basically, this series was started off in February, like on the 1st of February, when I was meant to quarantine for 2 weeks. And we had been given our project brief already for the school for the semester, and it was the title was ecological thinking. So we're supposed to produce our pieces based on like our response to our environment. And since I was supposed to be in quarantine because my flatmate got COVID, so like with the government rules back then, I had to be quarantining for 14 days. So I was kind of weary. I was a little like scared because I was like, I need to start something. I need to actually like do work. And I didn't know what to do because mainly before the project brief was actually given to us, my idea around the project was to explore the project about the unknown. That was what I was about to that was what I was gonna do initially. So basically like the unknown in like the environment, like stuff that we don't really pay attention to in the environment, like maybe the photosynthesizing of a plant, or maybe like animals like ants or something during the little ant business. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, like stuff that we kind of overlook in our everyday life. That was the initial plan for my project. But due to the fact I was in quarantine, I couldn't really go that route. So I was discussing with my friends that, like, what can I do? Like, I don't know what to do now because I don't want to be behind on this project. So I decided that I'm gonna just look at the unknown in my room and just work from there. So I purchased this microscope. It's a little microscope, just a hand pocket microscope. So, and I got the microscope and I decided, okay, now what do I do with it? So I was like, so the first thing I did when I got it out of the box was that I used it to microscope my floor, and I was like, oh, this looks so cool. So I decided, like, I proceeded to like put my microscope on so many random things in my room, and these were the results. So yeah, so these were the results of the little microscope experiment that I did. So as you can see, number 6 is my carpet, and these are other things like some my fur coat, my sketchbook is even here, even my laptop. That's number 2. So I just like put my microscope on, like, be literally the most random things. The things like these things you won't even I don't think they'll be easily identifiable if I didn't like say, okay, this is this and this is that. So this was the preface of the whole project. So I did 40 of these, and these, so as you can, I don't know if you can see from the top, like um the what they are is written on the top. So you can see, like, basically just random things that I encountered in my room that I thought, okay, let me just like view them in the microscope. I even like number 11 is the microscope of this painting that I have behind me. So I just like put my microscope on like a little section, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. So I decided to add it there. And yeah, so even number 15 is like around, I think this, like around this section, like the blue and the red, like dividing. So moving on, and then these are other things that, like I said, in my room. like my towel and these the leaf one is actually the same leaf, but I just like put in like two different places because I love the patterns on both of them. So that was like a leaf from the backyard that of where I live. And then these are like other things like books and my suitcase that I have on my floor. And the sticker on my laptop, I really love that. I really love doing that one. That one was so cool. And so I think, is this the video? So yeah, I took videos of them and I just decided to like compile them into one slideshow. Actually, they were supposed to like play together, but I don't know why PowerPoint doesn't let them play together, because I feel like if they're playing together, it's like creates this like, I don't know how to describe it. It's more like an artistic piece when it plays all together. So these are just like the videos of the like last slide. So these are all the items that were in the microscope um, pictures from last slide. So these are all of them, and basically this is it's like the most simple. It's like the most simple thing, but yeah, it's like so fascinating. Something that like makes you very curious to look at your environment, and if you see these things on a normal day, you won't be like your first thing that comes to your mind will be, wow, this is so pretty, this is so beautiful. But when you see like on another perspective, then you get to like appreciate it more. So these are some other things these were the last few bits that I put through my microscope. And then from here I was kind of like stuck, so I was like, I didn't know where to go from here. So then I decided to do some photo I decided to play around with Photoshop and compile some pieces, so like some of the microscopes together, so that to create something new from it. So these are some videos as well, so I'm just gonna quickly play them. And some of these have like little bits of audio. I don't know if it's not the audio. I don't think it's. Yeah, let me just share some. So these are like just like basically what I listen to. So it's kind of like adding to the mundane. I don't know if mundaneness is a word, but like adding to like the mundane nature of this project, like in my everyday life and things I do in my spare time on vacation, something like that. So these are the last few videos, and then these are the microscope things I did with the samples. So I just cut basically this was the starting point, because I didn't know if I should like what to do with them. So I was just kind of like experimenting with like the different Photoshop filters, the different Photoshop functions basically. So these are the first three ones I did. The one on the far right, I started like to play with like overlaying them and like trying different filters. While the one on the far left was just like, that was the starting point. That was like the first ever one I did. I was kind of just testing the waters. And then these are the next few bits I did as well. So basically with the eyes, I decided, I was like, I wanted to like emulate the feeling of looking at the stuff through the microscope. So that's why added the eye bits there. But yeah, that was the whole idea for those ones. And then these are just like some other random ones I did as well. Trying to like the black circle was kind of like making them more of a sample, like how you see like microscope samples in labs. They're like in like petri dishes and like little segments and stuff. So that's why I put the black circles there. They're not perfect circles, but that was as perfect as my hands will go. So and then this one was me trying to emulate something that's real with my microscope sample. So this is actually the cell of a plant. This is a real microscope image of a plant cell, and this was what I created from that microscope sample. So I just like use the liquify and other filters to like try to create create this create a cell, but with stuff that is found in my room. So like I said, I titled it the Jemimah cell because it's not a real cell, and it was inspired by images of a cell taken from real life objects, making them from objects in my room. So, and then this was a physical collage. So I printed off all my collages, and then I decided to compile all of them into one piece. And then I just cut some pieces, like some bits and bobs from each one out, and I collaged them into one big collage. And that's what this is. So I don't know if you can identify like all the elements of each painting. So I just basically cut out the white segments of each A4 paper, and then I collaged them on my wall in my studio space. So that was all the like Photoshop I did. And this is another one. This is another collage from the Photoshop collages that I did. And as you can see, everything is just compiled into one. And then this was the starting point for the room tour series that I put, that is in the exhibition. So I was given a tutorial by my tutor, and he mentioned that I should probably try to collage using my collages. That's where the last two slides were from, like from that idea as well. And then I decided to like try out a new medium as well, watercolor, because I mean I've tried a watercolor before, I've used watercolor before, but it wasn't something that I was really keen on, because like you said in my introduction, I'm more of an oil painter. As you can see, I love using oil paint. And yeah, so I was just like testing it out and seeing like how I would use watercolor. And then I just tore up like some pieces of my collage, and then I tried to collage them on the watercolor piece. And as you can see, I was arranging in different ways, trying to see like how, like what would look the best, in quote. And then I settled for this arrangement. And then this is the series as a whole that is in the exhibition right now. And basically it has an order that it goes by. Like I arranged them in a certain order, but I don't think the order doesn't really matter at this point, because they're all basically inspired from my room. So basically what I did was that I printed off the microscope images that you saw, that the starting point for this whole project. So I printed off the 40 microscope samples, and I placed them on my studio wall. So basically the painting process actually started when we were still in quarantine, when the studios weren't open yet. So I had to, work with what I had. So I used my laptop screen as I put up the images of the microscope samples, and then I selected like maybe one or two samples that I felt inspired by, and then I decided to like make a painting inspired by that. So it's kind of like looking at an artist, for example, and making a painting based on what inspired, like what piece you're inspired by in their work. So this is all of them. I went in. So when the studios opened, I think I was on my ninth painting of this series. And then basically what I did is that I just arranged them on my wall, and then each day I went into the studio and then I created new pieces. So, I created pieces like on 20 consecutive days. That's minus the middle watercolor collage piece. So I created one piece every single day for 20 days, and this is all of the pieces that was the result of the initial microscope samples. So this is them in the order that they were painted. So this is the first one, and this is the second one. So basically, these ones were like more of the test type situation. So I was trying to like, in the first few ones, I was trying to like more of emulate the feeling of the fiber, because initially I had only the cloth microscope samples. So I was trying to emulate the fiber of the cloth with the lines in the pieces. So that's why the lines are like very faint and like very, I say, dainty, kind of like a cell, like if you're like microscoping like a hair cell or something. I think the lines would be very like dainty and very flowy. Yeah. So this is the third one and the fourth one. The third one was more inspired by uh I think the leaf, like more of the leaf veins and all, and so was the fourth one. The fourth one was mostly inspired by the leaf. That's why it has the white one, like the white piece, the white watercolor streak, like going up and like emulating like the veins of a leaf. So that was what like inspired me for these ones. And then the circles, I don't know why I stuck with circles, but circles were just a thing running in this whole series. I think it's more, I was mainly stuck on circles because the microscope samples were circular. So I just had like round shapes in each painting. That was a constant throughout the whole series, except from this one, of course. This one was more inspired by the I have this sparkly Christmas ball that my friend gave me. And then when I microscoped it like through the microscope, it had basically, I don't know if you know like how sequins and little tiny glitter pieces, like this is how they look in the microscope. They have like a very hexagonal shape. So that was what I was emulating in this one. And then I obviously like changed the color so the ball was gold. So I tried to like use red for this piece because I cannot make gold with watercolor paint. So these were the other ones that I created. I'm not going to speak too much about them because there's quite a bit of them. So these were the pieces, and this one, the one on the right hand side, was more of like a combination of um I say it was more of a combination, like me trying to experiment with new techniques, like new shapes, and also inspired by the microscope samples as well, like the colors. I was more looking at the colors rather than the shapes and the fibers on the microscope samples. So that was the result of the microscope sample project room tour. Yeah. So the one on the left right now that you're seeing right now, it was a combination of the one I showed. It was a combination of this one and this one. So I combined these two together to make this, which is why you see like all the colors, the greens, the reds, the purples, everything is all incorporated in this piece. So, and this one was more inspired by the first. This one was inspired by this piece and this piece combined together. So there was a point where I was like, I don't feel inspired by the microscope pieces. So I was like, let me combine two paintings together and make something out of that. So this went on, and some of the techniques, like the little circle with like all the hairs in them, like all the little um fine lines, was a technique that I just adopted out of curiosity. I was like, oh, let me just try something new. That was why I tried with this one, and then I said stick with it to the end as well. So it was just like a test run type of um I say project. So I was just testing out different things, testing out different techniques, and just seeing how all the how like the result is gonna be like. So basically, I went into these paintings having no thoughts in my head, no ideas in my head of how they're gonna look. I just went in, just when I say blindly, I went in blindly and I just painted, because that was an advice that my tutors actually gave me. They were like, I should not, like, it's better to not have a destination when you're painting, because if you have that, then you're going to be focused, like you're going to be hyper focused, like, I want it to come out like this, it has to come out like this, if it doesn't come out like this, it's not perfect. So I just cancel it out of my head. I was like, okay, let me just go into this painting, just paint for painting's sake, and then see how it goes from there. So like, these are the last few ones, and yeah, these were all the paintings in their order. So moving on from this, I was like, initially when I finished, I was kind of stuck as well. I was like, okay, now where do I go from here? What do I do in addition to these works? Because I just thought that, it's not gonna be um much of a project if I don't, develop my pieces further. So what I did is that these are just like the stuff I tried out with the microscope samples initially, because my tutor actually advised me that, I should try out gifs on Photoshop, and these were the results of that. So this one has the one on the left has sound, and then the one on the right doesn't have sound. So these are just like experiments as well, and I went on to my final project as well. So, and then this was the development of the microscope pieces. So what I did is that because before this, before developing it further, um I had a Photoshop workshop with one of my tutors, Veronica, and then I learned how to do this mosaic filter on Photoshop. So I took the picture of every single um piece from the room tour series, and then I used the mosaic filter on it, and I put it to like the highest setting, and I got this grid of colors. So I decided to use that as like a palette to go forward with my work, to like develop my work further. I started with Photoshop, and then I went to paint, and then I went back to Photoshop again. So that was like the whole the whole project. And then these are the this was the picture that I used, and this is the result. And then I proceeded to make, let's say, grids of the grid. So what I did is that I basically cut out squares, I cut out sections from this grid that I have, and then I just put them on another a new page, a new document on Photoshop. And then I created little, like, would I say, little patterns out of them. So, and then from there, I decided to like paint them on canvas to like make them physical. And then this is another one I did. I think I did. I made 10 Photoshop pieces in total, but I only painted like about 4 or 5. So this is another one. I really love this one actually. This one is like very, like, I also try to like use contrasting colors as well to like make it like, let's say, pop. So that's why I combine blues and reds, and basically all the colors are from that grid. So basically, even the circle, what I did is that I used the paint bucket tool, and then I selected the color from the grid, and then I transferred it to the Photoshop slide document thing. So this is the another one I did. I think this was the last one I did. And then these are the ones I didn't paint. I didn't end up painting in the end. So um as you can see, it's very blocky and very like gritty. So basically I decided to like make it, like how architects like design like layout and stuff. So basically this is like me design like a layout of my room with the room tour series paintings. So these are like the other ones I did. And yeah, this was the final one I did. Was it? No, this is the final one I did. Sorry. I forgot about this one. And then that was it. So basically this was the last Photoshop um collage I did. And then I tried to add more techniques and more filters and more I tried to like play with the Photoshop filters more and more as I progressed with the Photoshop pieces. So this was the result of that. And then I decided to collab with one of my course mates, and basically I decided to she we basically planned that we are gonna use my microscope to like to put like to get a perspective of her space. So I found objects in her space and I put them under the microscope, and then this is the result of them. So these are like videos of them. So as you can see from the bottom, like all the names of like all the objects. And then with the audio, it makes it more like it makes it more, let's say, weird in a way, because you're hearing this audio and then you see this different calm, slowly moving, slowly turning video. And basically this is the result of that whole experiment that I did before. These are like the basic stuff. And this sounds like we're hearing from the second, and that's the thing that also appreciate like this whole chaotic sound. And that's actually like one thing I like about it, like this chaotic sound, but just like calm, pacing, funny images and like. So that was the last idea. And then basically she had this big sculpture, and then we projected these microscope videos onto her big sculpture. And these are like some videos that we took from that little experiment, if you will. So, and then these are like some pictures that shows. So basically, it was kind of like adding texture to a blank slate. So it kind of like, let's say, it's kind of like a painting on a canvas, but it's not a canvas. It's like a 3D object. So it's basically it was something that it was unique. It was a unique approach to like painting on a sculpture instead of like painting it just use your projector and just project on it, because it gives like different textures. You get like different textures, different skins, different feel. It gives like a different feel every time you microscope on them. So that's the end of my presentation, and yeah, that was the project.
That's fantastic. It's all really so interesting. And I love the way that you're literally making the mundane things visible in a whole new way, in a whole new aesthetic. It's interesting how you went from digital to hand drawn to digital again. How did you choose those steps? Like,
basically it was more of like a spur of the moment thing, because when I had tutorials with my tutor, they would give me suggestions, and I would just like give them a thought and then progress further. further with them, like with the ones that I felt like I should do.
Mm.
So, with the watercolor experiments, no one actually suggested that. I just felt like I need to try out more things, because when you're in art school, you're encouraged to like try out different mediums and different techniques. So
Mm.
basically, because last semester I focused more on my oil paintings, these were from last semester. I decided to like try out watercolor, because I I hardly use watercolor, so I was like, let me just give myself what's it called, an experiment, like
Mm.
just try out something new, just for the fun of it. So then I got obsessed with it, and then I just started creating more paintings and more paintings and more paintings, and then until I decided to stop, like, so I don't fill up my whole studio space with like just watercolor paintings.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. And going back to the whole tutor thing at art school, they're one of your biggest supports, really, and help you to move forward both professionally and as your practice. What a lot of people don't know how to do is know what to take from tutorials. So how do you process what they say and choose what you decide to take forward and what you decide is maybe later or maybe just no?
Well, I just basically, I write everything down that I see in my tutorials, and then I just sit down with it, and I think what's the most feasible thing that I can do that would
Mm,
benefit me and benefit my practice. And then, from there, I I tell my tutors, and then I see what they think, like, what they think, because sometimes what I feel like I should do moving forward, it's something that, they don't really, they're not on board with. And then sometimes, like, some of the things I did on here, like the Photoshop, like getting back to Photoshop, wasn't something that they felt okay with. But then I think after I did it, then they were like, oh, this is actually nice, it's actually interesting. And then from, like, I just tried to like see, like, I tried to think about what I would like to do, and
mm,
then discuss it with my tutors, see if they are on board with it. If they're not on board with it, and I feel that I would benefit from that, I would just go ahead with it. But then if it's something that is like really wild, like really out there, like, let's say I say, okay, let me buy some fiberglass, and then make a sculpture out of fiberglass or something, and then I tell my teachers, and they're like, oh no, you know, maybe don't do that, then I'll be like, yeah, probably shouldn't, because fiberglass is expensive. so, so it's just the things like that. So I try to think of things, and I try to like talk to my teachers as much as possible, and
mm.
see what they think about it. So that's how I decide what to do and what not to do.
That's fantastic. And where do you see this project going? Is it at its end, or is it gonna just keep going?
It's probably gonna keep going at some point, because maybe I'll come up with a whole new series and microscope some other things in my room, because my room has a lot of things in it. So I'll probably just make more series, like maybe microscoping like different fibers in my room, because I do lots of crocheting and knitting. So maybe I can make a series on like microscoping like different fibers, like different yarns, different materials, and then just like make watercolor paintings out of them, or maybe acrylic paintings this time, or oil paintings, and just like seeing how those go from there. So it may be like there may be a room tour series too
That's
in the
fantastic.
future.
And finally, what if you could give any advice to any emerging artists, what advice would you give them?
I would say just try as much as try everything, try every medium. Do not just stick to one medium, because before I came to university, I didn't even know what lino cutting was. And then when I came here, I discovered lino cutting, and then now I'm like lino cutting different things, and yeah, so I just say, like, if you're in art school, just try your best to, like, go through every single medium that you can. Do not be afraid, because it's all part of the learning process. Because at the end of the day, if if you try it and then you say, okay, I don't like it, then that in your heart that you don't like it. But if you don't try it, you won't know until you try it, and then you can decide, okay, this is not the medium for me, or this is the medium for me. And yeah, that's my advice. Just try every single thing, because that's why you're in art school, to try everything and to
Mm.
see, after university, where you're gonna go from there. So yeah,
That's
that's my
fantastic advice. And I want to say a massive thank you to coming on tonight and doing your artist talk and being a part of the exhibition. Your work is so interesting, and it's good to get the wider sense of what you're doing, because the microscopic images and the videos are just amazing to just view. They're kind of
yeah.
mesmerizing.
And then the funny thing is that it's not something special. It's just something that you find every single day, like papers, your laptop, stickers, just anything. Just I'm now with, like, a pocket microscope as well. Just yeah, it's just I was amazed myself with the microscope images. Every single time I took one, I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And then it's just like a leaf, or just like a paper strand of my shoelace or something. So
It's
that was,
fantastic. It's
yeah,
reinventing the way that we're actually looking at the world around us.
exactly. That was the whole idea of the series, like, just to give everyone, like, a different way to look at things around them.
Mm.
So, and I think I achieved that goal.
They're great. They're just so interesting, and it makes me feel like I need to go around my room, see what's around there.
Yeah, maybe you can, maybe you should.
Yeah. All right, well, brilliant. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, and I hope you have a good evening.
I hope you have a good evening too.
Brilliant. I'll see you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.